Nelson here. In this video I'm going to be talking about looking into your life map. Now what I'm basically going to discuss here is something that I've talked about in past Adronis advancement classrooms. And so if we're looking into the idea of your life map, I'm just going to draw out a little rectangle here. When I'm looking into the idea of a life map, what I've talked to others about relating to what a life map is that it's basically an incarnate plan. Now, when we first come to a planet such as this, planet Earth, and it's our first lifetime in that particular way, we've actually just stayed with two particular agendas. And these represent the two particular agendas. This line connects Agenda A to Agenda B. And again, this represents our very first physical incarnation. Let's say, for example, a human being. And that the first objective here, which represents Objective A, is one very simple thing: to be born. Objective B is the idea of living your authentic path, becoming an authentic person, understanding that you reach a state of energy that has no belief systems, that has no conflicts, that has no issues. That's basically our particular type of agenda when we're looking at A to B. Now, of course, when we come to this planet and the societal programming that's here, the type of matrix that we've existed in, when we start playing together with this simple two-phase objective, well, we basically end up doing this. And that's eventually what happens, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, about being skewed through the idea of the Earth experiment, through the idea of us attempting to adopt certain forms of personality characteristics, belief systems, mentalities, emotional states, friendships, enemies, adversaries, co-workers, excessive judgment, living within a mainframe-based system, etc. So we basically become harmonically scattered in that particular way. So our life map is all about being able to help bring us into a position where we can now start to get back on track. Now, just because there's a lot of different skewed paths here, it doesn't mean that we've done anything quote-unquote wrong. In fact, pretty much every person on this planet has a life map very much like this. And this is why we have some beings known as spirit guides, we have other particular physical guides, we have animal guides, we have a lot of guides that work together with us. And a lot of their duty within this life map is, if we're caught over here, that they're basically working to get us back to the point to where we left off. So something maybe happened in young childhood, in youth, and it skewed us into that particular type of path. So a spirit guide will basically be an assigned mediator that works together with you through your subconscious to attempt to bringing you back on track, to bringing you back upon the pathway that represents what you have, again, signed up to experience here on Earth. And again, that represents a path of authenticity. The path of authenticity will always be a straight line. It will never be wiggles. It will never be waves. It will never be anything that is skewing with curves, etc., right? This is basically caused through the state of emotional conflict. When we feel conflicted, when we assign belief, this is what creates all of this skewing. This is what creates the curvy roads. So again, as stated, it's not that anyone's doing anything wrong, but this is primarily why we keep coming back to Earth lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, because we're looking to get back from A to B, to moving into that level where we feel we have no belief systems, where we feel that we are emotionally, mentally balanced, that we are taking care of the physical body. We are taking care of the emotional body. We're taking care of the mental body. We're governing our energy. So we have P-E-M-E-N, right? The Pemen in that way. That's why we're all here. Now, basically, one of the most key fundamentals is if we wanted to ever go back onto the straight line path from A to B, from the moment we're born into being able to live into our path of authenticity, a lot of this is being done very conventionally through solitude. Now, solitude is basically what's helping us to get back on track. It's not to say that for the rest of your life you have to be in a certain state of solitude. But what solitude is basically helping us to understand is that when we get into that particular aspect of solitude, we're taking more time to observe our world. We're getting the ideas that in order for us to really connect with our guides, but primarily just connect with ourselves, because not everybody will talk to a spirit guide. Not everybody will have those particular types of mediators that they can consciously contact. They certainly have the capability to do so, but some just don't feel that that's what they're here to do. So that's fine. So basically what it is it's being able to really listen to yourself, to observe yourself, to find out what types of patterns you're creating. So this life map here, time to clear off a little bit of the curves here. Basically, if you feel that you are not in communication with a spirit guide, that's okay. Nonetheless, they work with you. So again, if we're looking to go from A to B here, and again, if we're up here, now our spirit guide is basically working together with us. Again, whether we are aware of it or not. And basically, if we're trying to bring this curve and come back upon this line, we need to look at the aspects of event. We need to look into the aspects of our emotional and our mental levels. We need to look into our physicality. We need to govern our energy systems in order for us to move back into that aspect of the horizontal line that connects from one point to another. So this is where synchronicity will come together. If we are moving into these strong, intense patterns that are attempting to reconnect us here, and if we've basically been feeling all the negative here, then again we're attempting to bring the positive here. And again, the negative and the positive. Attraction and repulsion. Expansion and contraction. Black and white, etc. So when we have energy here that represents our negative path, that represents something that we are not in harmony with, we need to equate just as much energy that it took to create that negativity, to bring it into a fine line of balance. That is what brings you back into a path of authenticity. That is the only way of getting back into a path of authenticity. Is all this particular energy, if it was basically to score it as 100 points of negative energy, we need to give it 100 points of positive energy. And that is what's going to create the counteracting. So this is what our guides do. They work together with us in certain events, certain forms of situations that may involve loved ones, that may involve co-workers, relationships, finances, whatever it may be that we are in an emotional tie-in with, that we have some type of belief system conflict, emotional conflict, and we're best at hearing about this in the state of solitude, because we're giving ourselves time. If all we're ever going to do is just constantly be around lots and lots and lots of people, we're not going to get used to hearing our own voice. We're going to just adapt to all these voices speaking around us. So this is just giving yourself time. But however much time you need is up to you. It could be as simple as one day, or it could be as simple as 20 years. Whatever it may be, that you feel solitude is helping you out with your life map. So now you are feeling comfortable again in your own skin by noticing that you have minus 100 points here, and to satisfy equivalent exchange, you need to bring about plus 100. So again, It's like a bank account. You know, if you're overdrawn 100, you need to put $100 back in so that you are at zero balance. Simple understanding here. But again, our guides will work together with us. They'll bring in certain forms of synchronicities. Sometimes if we're so unbelievably stubborn that these forms of situations that are looking to manifest can get to very strong states of extreme. Sometimes that can manifest themselves as car accidents. Sometimes that can happen to a very serious injury. Sometimes breaking an arm, breaking a leg, you know, having some type of illness in that particular way, are all extremes that we're going through because the guide's job is attempting to bring us back onto this line. Even if they don't succeed in this particular lifetime, and if we started from this skewed point right here, again, earlier point in life, a guide who, again, or guides that are helping us out, just our own particular subconscious that is working with us, may just be able to get us to this little point here. So, it's not all the way through, but there has been some improvement. Well, Brad, is it true that you may actually become more skewed in a particular lifetime rather than just being at this point? Maybe you're way up here. Absolutely, that can happen. Because that's just depending upon the person. The person feel like they're putting themselves more through a state of hell because they don't trust themselves. They don't trust anybody, they don't trust themselves, they don't know where to turn, and they're not willing to listen to themselves. They're not willing to get assistance, and they're not willing to go into that solitude at that point to really being able to listen to themselves, to bring themselves into that alignment to change. And so they will skew themselves off even further. People often in that sense who are all about corruption and greed, manipulation, etc., will become further skewed. So again, if this is like the 50-point margin from the zero, we're going way up here into the hundreds, absolutely. That can be awful. And again, that is what is tying in a lot of emotional woes and a lot of emotional conflict, mental conflicts, belief systems, etc. And so, when we pass away from the physical body, when we retire, we come back into the loop again, in birth, and then we eventually just sail back to where we were, all over again. You are not being rewarded points by feeling that you're retired from the physical body and saying, well, my physical life is done, maybe I can bring myself back to zero. Nope. With what you leave with, if you're at minus 100 on the scale, it's granted that you can do a little bit of work behind the scenes. You can start to work together in spirit with other people and see if you can help to clear up some things there. But usually that's no more than, say, minus 5 than coming off there. So you'd have about 95. You can only do a very, very, very tiny bit behind the scenes when you're there. So again, if we're looking at a scale here of a minus 100, what you could do behind the scenes, BTS, is maybe say about minus 5, very optimistically minus 10. But again, that's not really going to bring you too far, right? The majority of the points, so to speak, if we're looking at a point system here, for minus 100, and let's say you did some work behind the scenes, right? So now you're down to minus 90. So again, there's still a lot that you're going to need to do when you incarnate. Incarnation is what's going to bring about the form of authenticity, repatterning in lifetimes and helping you to move on into other levels. So again, if we're having this particular type of work that we've done behind the scenes, I was able to communicate with some of my loved ones while I was in spirit. I was able to apologize for quite a few things. And again, there was a little bit of liberation that happened. But I still need to come back. I still need to go back again and saying that, all right, well, here's this little buffering scale here that's just below 100. It has a few points off, and I'm going to see if I can work that down. This is basically what they could refer to as karmic rehabilitation, right? Is actually being able to come upon this planet, and you are basically giving yourself a soul oath to serve innocence, to work together with innocence. And if you don't, then again, the intensity of that particular type of karma can become very, very intense. You go from 100, you could shoot up all the way to 1,000, right? So it's kind of interesting. It's like the soul knows exactly what's going to happen in this life, but our own conscious self has no idea. And again, this is part of the free will veil. And we're just not sure about, what is it that we can achieve. It's really in the idea that our own grandiose aspect of ourselves basically offers a choice in regards to the state of scale. Is that we feel that we could become very, very amazing, authentic, and serve innocence, and now come back into that 0 point of scale. Or we can completely blow it. Now you basically have the ability to do both. That's the key. You can come back here and you can move on to this authenticity scale, or you can move closer to it, or you can completely blow it and go off even further. And that basically the Earth has a certain type of limit relating to the minus points that are contained within the life map. So again, if you're going off to a minus 1000, well, because Earth is moving into such a strong, intense state of galactic expansion, you could refer to it again as an ascension process, etc., an advancement process, etc., and then it's magnetizing all of this energy, and Earth is raising her frequency. There's only so many points, so to speak, if we're to look at it in this particular way, that a person can have on their karmic scale to continue to come here, right? So let's just say, for argument's sake, maybe that is someone needs to have a scale less than minus 100 on regards to karmic points, karmic rehabilitation. And so if you basically go over that overage, say you're at 200, minus 200, then you will not be able to incarnate on the earth plane again. Now this has actually happened for certain human beings in the past. They have actually dove so deeply into heavy karmic debt, they can't incarnate on earth again. However, they're stuck in astral planes because they're not allowing themselves to even move up into the plane that actually allows incarnation to happen again on the earth plane. And so basically they remain discarnate. Just have these little lines here that represent themselves as apparitions. And this can happen as well too. This is basically why they feel that even to maintain some type of frequency to stay upon the earth plane, they need to engulf or envelop energy. And this is basically what's known as astral energy vampires, right? So basically their stigma is done by attempting to influence thought forms onto other people that they can magnetize to and actually siphon energy so that they can actually try and stay upon the earth plane as these type of extra dimensional beings. So that's basically what happens, is that they're constantly siphoning off energy. And basically they can remain in that particular plane for as long as they have that type of victim. So they're tethered in that particular way. Does that mean that they can incarnate again? No. They're just leeching off that because they have an addiction to earth reality. So basically what's happening is that as long as they're using that person, their scale is going up. So it could be minus 205, minus 220, minus 250, etc. Right? So this is just kind of giving us an overview about I guess you could say a practicality of a map that is helping us to understand a little bit more about incarnation, about the work of guides, etc. And I know there's a lot of areas that I could probably cover here a lot more. But in summary here, what I'm basically going to say, just to wrap this all up, is that the more that we can work together to serve innocence, because that's the direction we're going, the more that that's helping us to move closer to the authenticity margin, to the 0 point margin. And again, that is the whole key, is that through solitude, you are able to move into listening, to just being very aware about what you're going through, about listening to this pain, listening to this conflict, listening to these emotional imbalances, and being able to, again, govern just as much energy on a positive scale as you have negatively for each and every single particular theme that you are exploring. So life maps is basically going to be discussed a lot more in future Adronis advancement classrooms. In fact, the one that's coming up here is going to be one of those particular classrooms. But I do plan to do a little bit more updates relating to this as we look into the life maps series. So more will be coming, hopefully, not too far down the road in the near future. But this is, again, just giving us a good practical outline about what our life maps are about. So in summary, we come here, this is our 2 original points. We basically are just working together, and we've been scattered and fragmented for many lifetimes. And what those particular types of curves, so to speak, are doing is that as we keep going into these different directions, they basically follow out a type of average, which means that these curves that are intertwining together with us are creating an amalgamation effect. And this is again what Adronis has talked about, is that again, as we have all these different curves happening within the life map, what we have not resolved fuses back together with us. Okay? It's not always just on the Earth plane. This can be in other areas of the galaxy. This can be in other galaxies. This can be in other dimensions. And they're all tethering. They're all rooting. They're all cording back to us. And basically letting us know of all of these experiences that play some type of magnetic service role relating to what we're experiencing here in this life. So again, you can only attract what you're the vibration of. So again, sometimes, if you're able to clean up a lot of earth-based karma, there's karma in other dimensions. There's karma in other levels of reality. Karma on other planets, in that sense, that have some type of magnetic life association and are tethering to you. And again, they form some type of theme that is compatible to be understood in the sequence of relationship on this planet. So basically, in a nutshell, we're just cleaning up a lot of karmic debt. We're cleaning up a lot of cords, a lot of tethers that have taken us off track and are attempting to work with other beings, be it spirit guides, etc., to helping us to reconnect to now moving more into the service of innocence. So the first part of innocence that we have to look into is the innocence within ourselves. And as we start to recuperate that particular type of innocence, now we can share innocence elsewhere, because that is our natural energy. That is what we are naturally, authentically made of. And that is, again, moving you closer and closer to the 0-point margin. Well, Brad, what happens when you get to the 0-point margin? You reach completion, which means you no longer need to be on the earth plane anymore. You can actually decide to go somewhere else. You may not even want to incarnate. It all depends. It just depends upon the person. It depends upon the being. It depends upon the entity, right? This is, again, what many ancient masters have done, is that they've gone into caves, they've been in complete solitude, and they've actually been able to reach a rainbow body effect, and actually being able to take themselves off the wheel of karma, space, and time, and matter. And they just simply return back into these beautiful, illuminated realms of consciousness. Again, it all just depends, because we all have different goals. We all have different assignments that we're meant to do. But again, for us to truly move off the earth plane altogether is when we felt we have done so much and work together to create a type of authenticity. Well, Brad, does that mean that if I don't want to go to Earth anymore after I've passed away, can I go to another planet? You could go to another planet if it represents a type of theme that, one, if you're invited to go there, two, if it is something that is complementary to helping you connect in removing a lot of this karmic debt. Because there's not too many planets out there like planet Earth that have such a sophistication of contrast, right? So the majority of us come back again and again and again and again, because Earth's a unique experiment. So 9 times out of 10, we come back here and we do it all over again, right? Until we bring the scale down. I know that's not what people like to hear. It's like, oh man, you're saying if I don't clean my crap up this time, I have to go back again? Mm-hmm. That's right. That's about the full of it, right? It's just how it is. Again, sometimes you may discover that there's a planet out there that may service you in that particular way and has somewhat of a closer theme attached to it. That may be possible. But again, it's about 9 times out of 10, or 90% momentum here, that you come back again and you do this. So why not get it right this time? Why not work together and being able to serve the innocence within yourself, serve the innocence within others? Does that mean, Brad, that I have to be perfect? Of course not. You're still going to be going through challenges. But when you look back at the end of your life, and this is why so many people are able to feel like they are making a repentance before they pass away, feeling that I was full of regrets and I want to spend this last day completely cleaning the slate. And that person can go back to source and rest in peace, because they are able to clean that slate within that one single day. They are able to embrace love and serve innocence. And here's the thing, it's never too late for anybody. Everybody has the opportunity to clean their slate, be it their last day, their last week, the last decade, the last few decades, whatever it may be. You all have the opportunity, we all have the opportunity to go back upon the authenticity line. So again, that's why we're here. That's the nature of incarnation. It's a game. It's like looking at a board game, right? You have to finish a level. You have to be playing a video game. You have to finish a level in order to graduate to the next level. The same thing applies here, that we need to see if we can graduate and move into that particular line of authenticity through the life map. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure there'll probably be quite a few questions relating to this video. Feel free to visit realitywhisperer.com. And again, you can always contact me should you have more questions relating to this video or other videos on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Take care, namaste, and may it be well with you. Goodbye.